matching the word with the definition. So, you might be familiar with this and you might remember some of it. Does anyone remember what is some point in space? What do we call that? A point. Okay. And what symbol represents a point? Right, a little dot, and we name it how? Go get a copy of the notes. What kind of letters? How many letters? One letter, and it needs to be capitalized. So it has to be a capital letter. Okay, so this would be point A. Capital letters every time. Okay. What is composed of infinitely many points and is straight? A line. And what is my symbol for a line? Line with arrows going both directions. Okay, and when I'm naming it, how many letters do I use? Two. Go to class. How many letters? Two. And what do they have to be? Capital. Okay, so 2 points that are on our line. The other way we can name a line is if I have a lowercase letter above the line, we can name it line and whatever that letter is. But it's just one letter above the line. So this could be line M. Okay? 2 ways to name a line. But remember, arrows going both directions. Okay, what has infinitely many points but has a beginning and an end with our endpoints? That's it's a line segment. How do we name line segments? How many letters? No, we need 2 letters. So BC would be a segment. What symbol goes above that? A line. Do I have arrows? No. Okay, so 2 capital letters, a line with no arrows. That's our line segment. Okay, what has infinitely many points, is straight, has one endpoint, and then goes infinitely far in one direction. That's a ray. Okay? How do we name a ray? 2 letters. Which letter has to go first? Which point? It's 2 points. Which one has to go first?
The one with the point.
How do I name that ray? Which letter goes first? B, and then D. The end point goes first. The end point goes first, and my symbol is a line with one arrow, and the arrow always points to the right. Now that does not indicate which direction the ray is going. That's just the symbol. What tells you the direction is the end point and then the next point it goes through. If y'all don't knock it off, I'll move you even further apart. End point, the next point it goes through, and it goes off to infinity. Okay? A ray. Points that lie on the same line are collinear. They all lie on the same line. Collinear. Okay. Points that are not on the same line are non-collinear. Okay. What is the union of 2 rays with a common endpoint that we call the vertex, and the rays make up the sides? That's an angle, right? I've got a ray, starts at the endpoint, goes off to infinity. Same endpoint goes off to infinity in a different direction. That makes an angle. Not an angel, an angle. How do we name angles? The angle symbol, good. And how many letters should be going after that angle symbol? 3. Okay, so this could be A, B, C. What's another way to write that angle? We could say angle B, right? Just the vertex. What's another way with 3 letters? CBA. When you're naming it with 3 letters, the middle one should always be the vertex. B is the vertex, so B is in the middle. Okay? Because no other angles have the same vertex, I could just call it angle B. And then if I had this inside my angle, what's another way I could name it? Angle, if that was a number 1. Angle 1. Okay? So, you're either going to be naming your angles with a number, 1 letter, or 3 letters. You never name an angle with just 2 letters. Okay? That's incorrect. It always has to have 3 or just the single vertex. All right. What do we call the union of 3 segments? It's a triangle. So if we have something like this, that would be triangle ABC or CBA. Okay? Any questions on the vocabulary words from this front page? Okay. On to the back side. The inclusion of all the elements together is the union. What symbol do we use for union? The U. Good. Okay. So, if I have this diagram, and I want to find the union of segment AE and segment EB. The union, AE and EB, what does that make all together? And AB is a line segment. So just a line with no arrows. Line AB, line segment AB. Okay. What is only the elements that they share? That would be intersection. And the symbol is that upside down U. Looks kind of like an N. Intersection. Okay. So if I wanted to find the intersection of AE and EB, where do they overlap? Again, AE, EB, where do they overlap? Point E. Okay. That's where they intersect. The point that they share. Intersection and union. All right. What kind of angle is less than 90 degrees? Acute. So it has to be less than 90 and greater than what? Can I have negative angle measures? No, so it needs to be bigger than 0, okay? Between 0 and 90 degrees. Okay. What kind of angle equals 90 degrees?
Right.
A right angle. Okay. And then greater than 90 but less than 180. Someone who hasn't answered yet. Obtuse, thank you. Okay. And then an angle that's equal to 180.
Straight angle.
It's a straight angle. Which of these types of angles can we assume from a diagram? Any of the other ones? No, only the straight angle. You have to be given additional information about the rest. Thank you. All right, and then we're done with degrees and minutes, so don't worry about that. Okay. Blank are angles that have the same measure. Congruent angles. Okay, and that symbol is a squiggly above an equal sign. That means congruent. So angles are congruent when they have the same number of degrees. Okay, what are segments that have the same measure? Congruent segments. So segments that are the same length. Again, congruent, squiggly line above an equal sign. Okay. And then what do we use to tell us if angles and segments are congruent in diagrams? Tick marks. Okay, so let's draw an example here. I've got this triangle, and I've got these tick marks. So with tick marks, you need to match them, okay? That's how you know what is congruent. So in this particular diagram, I've got these two matching hash marks on these segments. So what is congruent to what here? And those are what?
Segments.
Segments, thank you. Okay? So those two matching hash marks mean that I have congruent segments. Okay? Then I have these matching hash marks, which mean I have congruent angles. So what are the names of those two angles that are congruent? DFE and DEF. 3 capital letters. Okay? Any questions from either side of this vocabulary page? Okay. The next thing I want you to pull up is this diagram markings page. We're going to do number 1 together, and then you're going to do the rest with your groups, and then we'll talk about the correct answers together. So what we're doing is we're given 6 different diagrams, and we're going to be listing all the information that we can conclude from the markings on the diagram. So starting with number 1, where do I have matching tick marks? On angles or segments? Angles, right? I've got 2 arcs here and 2 arcs here. That means that those tick marks match. So which angles are congruent? BAC and BCA. They are congruent angles. The tick marks told me that. Okay, what's another marking on this diagram? Right. This little box here tells me that that angle is a right angle. So angle ABC is equal to 90 degrees. Okay. Now think back to last week, the day before the test. We learned one new word when we can describe line segments or lines. If AB and BC form a right angle, what kind of lines are they?
Complementary.
So complementary would be 2 angles that add to 90 degrees. But lines or line segments that form 90-degree angles are, starts with a P. Say it louder. Perpendicular. AB and BC form a right angle. So that means segment AB and segment BC are perpendicular. Remember that upside down T means perpendicular. So they form a right angle, which means they are perpendicular to each other. Okay? At this point, I want you to work on 2 through 6 with those around you, and we're going to go over the correct answers together.